Hello everyone, I am Mohammad Kamran Halil from your favorite YouTube channel, The Twins Academy. Today I am going to explain in detail the A level paper 9702/22 Feb March 2025. I will explain from question number 1 till question number 4 in this video, and then in the next video from question number 5 till question number 7. In this video, I will not only mention the solution of the paper, but also I will explain that what are the common mistakes and how to overcome those common mistakes. So we will start from question number 1. Here we go. Explain what is meant by the accuracy of the measured value. Accuracy is the that how much close is the calculated answer with respect to the true value or the actual value. So you have to remember the definitions properly. A small number of candidates will explain that what is meant by precision of the set of the values. So they have given the example that if we have more number of the values, then it will be more accurate. So that is not the exact definition. And some candidate thought that the accuracy is related with the significant figures. So you have to remember the exact definition. Then the next question is related with the uh, calculation. Now two solid cubes A and B, they are measured by their densities are material of the given. For cube A, the length is given, and for cube A, the mass is given. Now these quantities are given in centimeter and grams. While in question number 1 part A, the conversion is required in kilogram and meter cube. So show that. Show that is the key word. You have to show your working. So that the calculated density of the material of cube A is 8.7 10 raised to power 3. So you will write down the formula density equal to mass over volume. Many times the student have used D instead of rho. So rho is the correct symbol which you have to mention. Then second thing is the more common mistake is the conversion. In order to convert the centimeter into meter, what you will do, you will divide the term by, for example, 1.53 divided by 100. So it will convert centimeter into meter, or you can write down simply 10 raised to power minus 2. So then in order to convert gram into kg, convert it by writing 10 raised to power minus 3, or by simply divided by 1000. So this is a very simple question. If you know the conversion, then you can do it. Now the volume of the cube is L cube. So it will become meter over L cube. So now the conversion, after having a correct conversion, you will substitute the values and then you will get the answer 8739. And when you will write down in the power of 10 and in 2SF, then the answer will be 8.7 into 10 is power 10. Calculate the percentage uncertainty. Now, in order to convert the percentage uncertainty, what we will do, we will write down the formula. This is not the absolute uncertainty, only the percentage uncertainty is required. So delta M over M plus delta V over V. But now the volume is not directly given. It is given in the form of length, and the volume of a cube is L cube. So what we will do, delta M over M plus delta L over L raised power 3, and this is the rule of the uncertainty that it will become in the beginning. So then you will apply the values, and one more thing, that when you will calculate the uncertainties, you are not required to convert the units. This is another mistake. Okay, the density of the material B is determined to be this. Now state and explain whether cube A and B could be made from the same material. Now whenever they will ask state and explain, first explain and then state, because without explanation you can't get your result. So without result you can't state whether the statement is correct or incorrect or same or not or different, whatever is required. So now 9.2 into 10 to the power 3 plus minus 6%, what I will do, I have calculated the 6% of 9.2, that is 0.52. Now I will calculate the maximum value and I will calculate the minimum density for material B. Now because this answer is, now minimum value is 8.68, which is almost 8.7. So it means that the other material A is also made from the same material. The other cube, which is cube A, is made from the same material. So the misconception which were represented by the student is this, that they have explained that the material A has 4% uncertainty and material B has 6% uncertainty. So they are made from the different material without any calculation. You have to explain the reasoning. You have to explain the logical reasoning. You will show your reasoning and then you will get your marks. Then question number 2, state the principle of moments. For a system in equilibrium, the sum of clockwise, the key term is sum or total. The total clockwise moment about a point is equal to the total or sum of the anti-clockwise moment about the same point. If you will not write down this key point about the same point, you will not get full marks. So the total is the key point, and then clockwise and anti-clockwise, and the third key point is the about the same point. Now the next part is related with the solid plastic cylinder floats in the water. It is used to support one end of the horizontal uniform rod AB as shown. The beam has a length of 6 meter and weight this. So it means that weight will act at its center, and from the total length of the rod is 6. So from this point, this length will be 3 meter, this length will be 3 meter from point B because total is 6. The student is standing on this rod. It is having weight of 6 Newton, 660 Newton, which will act in the downward direction. So two forces are acting in downward direction. One is the weight of the student and other is the weight of the beam. Okay, the cylinder is floating vertically in the water. The top of the cylinder is attached this, and the cylinder applies a vertical force 1300 Newton to the beam. Now the every action has a reaction. So now this reaction will be in upward direction, and this value is given 1300 Newton. So there are two clockwise moment acting in downward direction, and there is one anti-clockwise moment acting in upward direction. So now in this question, he will ask that by taking moment about point A and A will be the pivot, determine the distance x from A to B. So we will apply this formula, the sum of clockwise moment, which was the weight of the student and then the weight of the rod, their distance m1 and at d1 plus m2 d2, that is equal to this, and then we will get this answer which is equal to 2.1. Okay, then the next part is related with the bottom of the cylinder is submerged into the depth y, and the beam is still attached to the cylinder but not shown. The beam is somewhere over here like this. So now this is submerged into the cylinder. The cylinder has mass of 11 kg and the diameter of 0.78. The beam exerts a vertical force of 1300 Newton on the cylinder. The cylinder is in equilibrium. It means the forces are balanced. So sum of the downward force is equal to sum of upward force. If you will apply this formula, you will not get your answer because this is given. The system is in equilibrium. So total downward forces is equal to total upward forces. So now what are the total downward forces? That is the weight of the cylinder, which is acting in downward direction, and the push from the beam. It is also in the downward direction, which is 1300 Newton. So what is the total downward force? That is equal to 11 into 9.81 and then 1300. So that is the total downward force. It means the total upward force will be this. So 1400 Newton will be the answer. So majority of the candidate equated the upthrust, which is wrong way, and then they got answer 100 Newton directly without showing any calculation. So you have to show your calculation. Now the water has the density of 990 kg. Calculate the depth y. We will use the formula F that is equal to rho gv. Volume is not given directly. Volume is always equal to area into height. In this case, the height or the depth is y. So I will make subject y as a subject. Now whenever they will say they calculate or show that, so make that variable the subject of the equation. Now area is not given. The formula for the area is pi r square, and then the other one is pi d square by 4 because diameter is given. So I will use diameter directly over here. So I will calculate the diameter and then I will calculate the value of y. I will substitute the values. So for the force, I will use the actual value without rounding off. So whenever the last part is required in the next part, always use the actual value. So I have written the both answer, the rounded off answer and then the actual value. So I will use this value over here and then I will calculate the answer, then I will get this. Now here is one common mistake which many of the students have done. So they have written answer 0.3. Always remember that in A levels, the answer should be in minimum 2 SF. Minimum 2 SF. So if you will write down the answer in 1 SF, 1 mark will be deducted. So do not do this mistake, please. The person can stand anywhere between A and B, and the variation of the depth of the bottom of the cylinder with the distance of the from the distance 0 to 6 meter. Now these are the required. So your graph will start from the distance 0 and then it will terminate exact at 6. You can't proceed this graph in the forward direction. Numerical values are not required. Now, since when the student is standing and the rod is in equilibrium, then what has happened? That the depth of y is not 0. As soon as it will move towards the right hand side, the depth will increase. So your graph will start not from origin, it will have a non-zero value. Non-zero value. So that is a mistake which the student have done. They have started graph like this, which is wrong. So the graph will not start from the origin, although it will be a straight line. And then many of the students have, what they have done, they have extended this line, which is wrong. Or sometimes the student have shown this line, but they have terminated this line like this. They have started this and then this. So you have to move the line up till 6.0 meter. Okay, ji. The next one, I have told you that what is the mistake in the graph. And then the question number 3, a truck R of mass 9,400 kg moves with a constant acceleration in a straight line down to the slope, and then it will start moving in a horizontal surface. Initial velocity is given, final velocity is given, the distance is given, acceleration is required. So we will apply equation 2as equal to v square minus u square. And then I will substitute the values. I will get answer 0.875 and the acceleration will be 0.88. Sometime the weaker candidate, what they did, they have calculated first time and then they substitute values. It will make your work very inappropriate method. And because all the things are given, the time is not given. So what we will do, we will directly apply the equation number 3, 2as equal to v square minus u square. After that, determine the gain in kinetic energy. So the kinetic energy, although it is already in movement, so kinetic energy at this point and kinetic energy at this point, and then the difference of the kinetic energy between these 2 points will give you the gain in the kinetic energy. So what I will do, I will use the formula half mv square minus u square, and then I will substitute the values. Sometimes students do this mistake, m. First they will subtract the velocities and then they will make it square. This is the wrong approach. Another approach is this, that you will use the formula work done that is equal to force into distance. F that is equal to ma. I have already calculated the acceleration, which is actual value 0.875, and then I will substitute the values and then I will get the same answer, which is equal to this. So there are two approaches for this question, but this approach is not acceptable. And after that, a short time after passing the point B, truck moves in a straight line on horizontal ground, as I have mentioned earlier. So the driver will apply brakes, so car will slow down, the momentum will decrease, certainly the velocity will decrease, so momentum will decrease. Now what is required in this question? Define force, the rate of change of momentum. Exact definition is required. Many times the student write down, it is the product of mass and acceleration. That is not the definition of the force. That is the you can say that it is a method. It is a formula to calculate the resultant force. So if you write down this, the product of mass and acceleration, your definition will not acceptable. Only the acceptable definition is the rate of change of momentum. So keywords are required to be learned from the syllabus. So what are the average force? Now the force is required to be calculated. We have to show this. So formula for the force is rate of change of momentum according to this definition. So change in momentum, final momentum was at 15 seconds is 2.5. I have mentioned it here as well. So 2.5 was the final momentum and initial momentum is 21.0 into 10 is power 4. The power of 4 is very much required. Majority of the students have missed this power. or what they have written 104. So this is a common mistake. Do not do this mistake. So now this is the force which is required to be shown, that 1.2 into 10 is power minus 4 change in momentum over time, and then include the exact or accurate 10 power 4. Otherwise you will not get your answer. Then the next question, an identical truck S has the same initial momentum as truck R. Now this is the data which I will extract from the statement, and S will experience the same constant force which I have calculated in B2. He has mentioned the clue of the values which we have to use this. State and explain. So first I will explain, then I will state whether the truck S will take more time, less time, or same amount of time in order to come to rest as truck R. So what I will do, I will apply the formula F that is equal to delta P over T. Then I will apply the formula, rearranging the formula, I will calculate the time. The initial momentum is the same. The force, he has shown that we will take the value of the force as we have calculated in B2. Then I will get 17 seconds. I will write down the two values for truck S and truck R. Then I will compare them. So what you got? You got that the truck S will take more time in order to become at rest. So we have to explain full explanation. So if you will skip any comparison, if you will write down the answer directly, you will not get your marks. You have to explain. And then the last question related with this video is related with the waves. A microwave. Microwave is a electromagnetic wave. All electromagnetic waves travel with the speed of light, which is 3.0 into 10 raised power 8 meter per second. So you have to remember this thing. Okay, the line XY is perpendicular. A device containing a microwave and a receiver is placed in front of this. So this is a transmitter as well as it is a receiver as well. It is emitting the sound waves. They will go, they will hit, they will turn back, overlap each other, and then they will form the stationary waves as written in the diagram. In the diagram that is written in the statement as well. So now another value is written 6.3 gigahertz. Many of the students doesn't remember the value of the giga. So MGT, 10 raised power 6, 10 power 9, and then 10 power tera will represent 12. So you will remember this value by using this keyword MGT. State and explain how the stationary waves will be formed, including the nodes and antilodes. So now this question required some key terminology. The microwave will emit from the transmitter. It will hit with the metal surface and reflect back. Then they will travel in opposite direction. They will superpose each other at different points. After that, what will happen? At some places, the resultant amplitude, the key term is amplitude. The key term is that reflect back. The key term is that they will superpose. So, and then at some point, the resultant amplitude will be maximum, which will form an antinode, and at some point the resultant amplitude will be minimum or zero, which will form a node. So you have to write down the complete explanation. So now the mistake the students which have done in this question, that they have used the term bounced off or rebounded, which is not required. The exact terminology is the reflect back. So many of the students have shown that the waves will travel in the opposite direction, but again they have not mentioned the key term that they will reflect back. And then the other misconception, then they have used the resultant or maximum displacement instead of maximum amplitude. So key point is the amplitude, not the displacement. Okay, ji. Moving towards the other part of this question. In this question, calculate the wavelength of the microwaves. So C equal to F lambda or V equal to F lambda, where C is the speed of light in vacuum, and then you will make the lambda as the subject. And again, I have earlier mentioned that the power of G is 10 raised power 9, so I will get 0.048. Another mistake that many of the students have converted this into the rounded off value, which is 0.05, which is not acceptable because it is in 1 SF. In 1 SF, in O levels and A levels, answer is not acceptable, not acceptable, and not acceptable. Okay, at point P, the receiver detects a maximum amplitude. Okay, at point P, the antinode will be formed and at point Q the node will be formed. So now what will be the situation of this diagram? I will erase this. So according to the statement, at point P this, so then what will happen? Sorry, this is incorrect. The dead end always have node and this. So this is node, this is anti-node. Now the distance between node and anti-node is the quarter of the wavelength, because node, node and node, three consecutive node will give you the wavelength lambda. Two consecutive nodes will give you the lambda by 2, and then node and antinode will give you the lambda by 4. So this PQ distance is the lambda by 4. So this is what you have to learn from the topic, and what we will do, and then we will divide wavelength by 4, and the value was 0.048 divided by 4, 0.012 is the answer. A common misconception was that the distance was equal to the half of the wavelength. So half of the wavelength, we must have two consecutive nodes or two consecutive anti-nodes. Okay, the intensity of the microwave emitted by the device is increased. The frequency of the microwave is unchanged. So frequency will remain same, and while the intensity will be increased as given in this. The frequency of the microwave and the device is moved slowly along the line from point Q until the next maximum will be detected at point R. So from point Q, where is the diagram? This, and then it will represent the some other point at which the another maximum will be detected at this point. So now what is asked? State and explain whether the distance QR is greater than, less than, or the same as the distance PQ. So now the intensity has no impact on the frequency. The intensity has no effect on frequency once again. So if frequency will not change, the wavelength will not change. So I will write down the formula: C equal to F lambda or V equal to F lambda. Intensity is the brightness. So brightness doesn't change the distance between the node and the anti-node. So intensity does not change. The wavelength will remain same. So frequency same and wavelength will remain same. So if you will write down the frequency you are mentioning, then you have to connect it with the wavelength as well. So I hope that now you have clear understanding of how to solve these first four questions of this paper, and then also you got your common mistake. So stay tuned for the next video, in which I will explain question number 5, 6, 7. Take care. Bye bye.